Brandon Boyd. Everyone, Brandon Boyd here with Wake Up Now, one of the master distributors of the company. Excited to have you on this morning. Realize some of you have very busy schedules, but we are privileged this morning to have Ross Jardine with us, who is America's Money Mentor. And I don't want to take a lot of time away from him. We want to keep this somewhere around 30 minutes to respect your time as well. But we feel that with what we have to share today, if used, can absolutely change your life. That in combination with the education that is provided, as well as the financial software that Wake Up Now provides, we feel that if you will use that and the education that is taught here today, that it will make a tremendous difference in your life. And I'm not going to take any more time away from Ross. We do have this recorded, and I'm going to turn it over to Ross. Ross.
Well, thanks, Brandon, for inviting me to join you today. This is something I enjoy doing. I'm kind of on a mission to help people, and I've had a very successful career, and this is just a great opportunity for me to share some of those things that I've learned with your folks today. The topic today is 60-day money miracle system, and I've created 7 steps to a debt-free wealthy life, and I want to share those with you today and give you a resource so you can take those things and hopefully include them in your own life and have the positive benefits that I think will come with that. It's a perfect companion to the great tools and services available to you at Wake Up Now. Let me just start by posing a question. I want you to be honest with yourself. Do you ever worry about money? Well, you probably think that's a silly question because, of course, we do. We always worry about money. I believe that, right now, it's never been a more challenging time to make, save, and invest your money. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And so it's something that's on a lot of our minds. And I want to provide, I think, a little bit of a solution that will help you kind of minimize that money stress in your life and help you live a happy, wealthy life is what I call it. Now, most of you probably don't know who I am. And so I posed the question, why should you listen to me? Well, just a little bit of background. I started one of the largest, in fact, the largest investor education company in the world a little over a decade ago. It's actually been about 15 years now, but and it's called Invest Tools. And it gave me the opportunity to travel the world and teach people about money and finance. And that company was very successful. I've also had several other businesses that collectively have sold over $1 billion of training around the world. I've created training programs on finance and money for some of the biggest names in the financial world. Companies like Business Week, Investors Business Daily, CNBC, and many major brokerage firms. It's something I enjoy, I'm passionate about, and it's something, again, I've dedicated the last 2 decades of my life to. So there's a reason they call me the America's Money Mentor. It's because when it comes to money and finance, I know what I'm talking about. Now, I want you to help me, and I'm going to give you a little gift to incentivize you to do that. I've just written a new book. It's called The 60-Day Money Miracle. It included in that book is everything we're going to talk about today, a simple plan to help you crush your debt, build wealth, and ultimately retire rich. Now, you can get your free book by just simply going to rossjardine.com. It's an electronic copy, so you can just download that. You'll have it today. Now, I'm on a mission to give away 1 million copies of that book in this year, and you can help me. There's no restrictions. You can get anybody you know that's struggling with the same money issues we're going to talk about today. Let them go ahead and go there and get one. Share that link because I'd like to give away 1 million copies and hopefully help a whole bunch of families around the world this year with that book. Now, I want to start today just to have you reflect. It's always nice to think of a positive thing. Sometimes we're so burdened with our stress and anxiety from money and all those things that go along with that. I want you to think for a minute about what the lifestyle of your dreams would look like. What if money wasn't an issue? If you didn't have a car payment, a house payment, if you had a little money in the bank and could spend some of that on things you'd enjoy, what would it look like? What are some of those things that you might have then that you may not have now? Well, I'm fortunate because I do get to live the lifestyle of my dreams. And I'll just give you a little glimpse into that. For me, one of the things when I started making money, I always enjoyed cars. And I thought, I'd really like to have nice cars. And I've been able to have some of the cars of my dreams and drive those things and just enjoy them. The nice thing is I was always able to buy those cars and pay cash for them. And so it never was an issue of going into debt. I also have several vacation homes. There's a picture of my home up near Park City. Just looking at that is exciting to me because I know how many great family memories have been created in that room right there. And I think you'd agree, it looks like a pretty relaxing and comfortable place. And I assure you that that's exactly what it is. And those are some of the things that our family is able to enjoy. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to do those. Things I enjoy doing in my time. In the summertime, it's ride my Harley out on the back roads of the West. Here's a picture of me riding up in the Canadian Rockies a couple of years ago. We also love to snowmobile. I do a lot of that during the winter, so it's a motorcycle in the summer and snowmobile in the winter. Also, love to play golf and take every opportunity I can to play golf. Here's a picture of me just about to tee off at a beautiful golf course on the island of Bali in Indonesia, and you can see in the background there the golf course is right on the coast next to the famous Tanah Lot Temple. Just a spectacular place there, especially at the sunset. You can see when the water comes in, it's a little island, but when the tide goes out, you can walk across to that temple there in the background. But those are just a few of the things that I get to enjoy. And whatever your lifestyle is of your dreams, I believe what I'm going to share with you today is your ticket to get you on the path to get that. Now, it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But if you do the things I'm going to teach you today, I guarantee that you can be on that path. Now, here's my promise to you that the proven system you're going to learn from my book and the tools available to you from Wake Up Now will help most of you get out of debt 20 years faster than if you do nothing or stay on the track you're on right now. And that's a lot of time. Imagine 20 years of additional payments going to retirement or improving your lifestyle, whatever you want to do with that. And I think you can see that it's a goal worth working for. But the real benefit comes right down to simple dollars and cents. By following this program, you can save a minimum of $25,000 in future interest payments. Now, that's a minimum. I believe a lot of you, if you've got a mortgage, it can be 50, it can be $100,000. I've seen some well over 200,000 that people have saved simply by following some simple mathematics and using the simple tools available to them at Wake Up Now. I really believe, if you're listening to this program today, that this is your best chance to get on a path to live your lifestyle of dreams. Only you can decide, and only you can put forth the effort to make that happen. Now, the number one problem all of you are faced with, and most people are faced with today, is debt. It's the single biggest obstacle in your path to financial security. But I want you to think, will it be a speed bump, something you'll get past? It may cause a little uncomfort, but you'll get past that and on your path to success. Or is it become a barricade like it does for so many people? And that's really the issue that you have to focus on. The problem with money issues are that they cause problems and they complicate our life. Things like divorce, abuse, business failures, bankruptcy, family relationships that are failed, even addictions and suicide. Many of you probably know people that have experienced, if you haven't yourself, some of those serious issues solely because of a poor decision they made with money. I think if most of you were honest with yourself and reflected back on your own life and some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as an individual or a family, you'd probably have to be honest with yourself and say that at the very core of those things often was a poor choice we did or that we made with our money that caused some additional stress that complicated things and created these issues. Well, here's my question to you. Are you ready for a miracle? Because I think that's exactly what you can have if you follow the simple process I'm going to share with you. Let's get started. I'm going to share with you my 7 steps, and I'll tell you some resources you can get some more detail on these because we have such a short window today. I'm just going to introduce them by name only and just talk about them briefly, and then give you some resources where you can get some more information after the webinar today. So again, the goal being to shave 20 years or more off your mortgage and all your debts and save a minimum of $25,000 in interest payments using your current income. Now think about it. That $25,000 is money that you're going to spend already, but it's money that's going to go to the credit card company, the bank, the auto finance, the student loans, all those different people that you've borrowed money from. That's who's getting that money if you do nothing. Wouldn't you like to capture and keep that money for yourself and use that to enhance your lifestyle or put it away for a little more comfortable retirement? That's really the objective of this training. So what are the steps? Well, the first one is you have to commit to make a change. I've just found, like anything, an addiction or a bad habit, we have to decide we really want to do something different before we're actually going to get the benefit to do it. Now, I've had a lot of people that say, yeah, Russ, I really want to get out of debt. But once they see that they've got to sacrifice something, maybe go without cable TV or without the movie channel or get rid of the smartphone or some of those things, then all of a sudden we find that commitment's really not there. And honestly, then it's a waste of time. So I want you to know that if you really are committed, that this is finally the time where you're convinced that you're going to do whatever it takes in your power to get out of debt and get on that track to a more happy and wealthy life, then now's the time to do it, and I want to help. The first thing we have to do is stop adding debt, because it's very difficult to hit a moving target, and so you got to stop adding debt. It's the single biggest step to getting on that path to becoming debt free. It may be as important to cut up the credit cards, if you will, and take away the vehicle that's created so much turmoil and stress in our lives. Once you've stopped adding debt, now we can focus on the problem of how we're going to eliminate it quickly using the resources available to us, primarily your current income. Now, before we put that plan in place, we got to kind of know where we're at. And that involves doing what I call a financial inventory. We have to find out where the money's at. Now, I think most financial decisions, when I talk to people, if they knew the consequence of the decision before they made it, I'm convinced most people would make the right choice. What that really means is that most money decisions come down to common sense. And if you understood and looked at consequence A when I make certain decisions, I think you choose the right thing. Well, the problem with that is you can't see into the future. We don't have a crystal ball, and so we don't know those things. Part of it is we make a decision on a certain debt. We decide maybe money's a little tight. We decide we're going to skip this certain payment this month. And then it kind of sets off a cascading effect of consequences that now affect a lot more than just that one single bill. So it's important that you understand where everything's at and know that when you make a decision on one part of your financial life, it very well and most likely will impact another part. By having everything in one place so we can see those things and maybe even test out a scenario if we're considering a certain financial decision, we can see the consequence or at least get a glimpse of what the consequence might be. And then I'm convinced that you'll make the right choices. Most money decisions, frankly, are very simple, but we complicate them because we have so much emotion around it. Most poor money decisions are made in the heat of the moment, where a bill's due or an unexpected emergency happens, and we just have to do whatever we have to do. And we don't think through things, and so we end up making a mistake that costs us money, stress, and anxiety, and slows down that process of getting out of debt. Now, we need a little bit of a cushion because unexpected things do happen, and so we need to establish emergency fund. Now, I go through in my book and one of my courses a real easy way to kind of get started. I don't want people to delay getting out of debt simply because it takes them a long time to build up the emergency fund. We really just need enough to cover something like, a flat or blown out tire, or maybe an appliance in the kitchen that goes down, or an oil change, or those types of things that happen frequently that could affect our lives, transportation, something we use at home. And so just enough to cover that is enough to provide the basis for getting started with the program. Once you've established that, then I'm going to show you some simple ways to do two very important things. Create some money that's just lying around your house. I call that go on a treasure hunt. And I give you some great details in the book on how to do that. And it's something I did personally last year. I felt like it was important for me to be a product of what I teach. And so I went through my house and I had a lot of stuff just sitting around. And I was able to convert stuff, junk in some cases, into over $70,000. And I did it in a matter of a month. And again, so if you're listening to this and you want to find it, I show you how to do that in the book. And then the second part of that is to increase your monthly cash flow. Cash flow is the money that we have left over after we pay all our obligations, our monthly living expenses and debts. And some of you probably don't have much, or if you have any at all. If some of you may be going negative on that because you're simply spending more than you make. You're living a lifestyle that you can't afford. Well, I'm going to show you in the book, there's 25 different things you can do to free up cash in your budget, because that extra cash that you can now choose how to spend is what we're going to use as a catalyst to pay off your debt very quickly and get you on a path to debt freedom in the fastest possible way. Once we have that all put in place, we've got your spending under control. We've got a little bit of a cushion, a buffer against unexpected expenses. We know where everything's at. We've created some free cash flow. Now we can apply all those things into a plan that literally is step-by-step driving instructions to help us get out of debt as quickly as possible. And I mean zero debt, so that we have all of that. And the best way to do that, in my mind, is actually the best way to do that, period, is to use the Wake Up Now Finance tool, a powerful tool that literally will automate this entire process. Now, let me give you an example. Does this program work? Well, let me show you a contest or a challenge that we put on last year in Utah Valley, here where I live. Utah Valley Magazine is a lifestyle magazine published here in Utah for people, the residents of Utah Valley. And the editor of that magazine was a woman who, her and her husband had gone through one of my financial training classes. And we struck up a friendship and kept in touch. And I happened to run into her one day. And I suggested that, every year she would do this year-long feature where they would feature or chronicle somebody's progress on getting out of debt or losing weight. Not getting out, excuse me, getting losing weight or getting fit, exercise and stuff. And I suggested to her at that time, let's do one on getting out of debt. People have that problem, and we can chronicle their progress through the course of a year, and I'll be, in a sense, their personal coach or mentor. So we did just that. And I want to share with you just one of the families that we work with that was chronicled in that year-long challenge. This is Jen and Ben, and Jen and Ben came to the session that I put on the very first night where I met these families, and gave them a copy of the book, the same one that you're going to get today. And I kind of started going through those 7 steps that I just showed you, and I got to the one that said stop adding new debt. And while they were all sitting there in the little conference room that we met in, I pulled out a pair of scissors and set them on the table in front of me. And I asked each of them to pull the credit cards out of their wallets and purses and set them on the table in front of them. And then I asked, does anybody have the courage to come up here and grab those scissors and cut up those credit cards to stop adding new debt? Well, with tears in her eyes, Jen stood up and was the first one to come up and grab those scissors, and went back and cut up the 6 or 7 credit cards that her and her husband had in their pocket that night. Well, little did I know, when they went home, there was an additional stash of credit cards, most of them maxed out, that were sitting at home that also needed to be destroyed. This picture you're looking at right now is that exact night. That's exactly, they went home, and they were so committed after leaving that meeting with me. They went home and decided, we're going to do what Russ said, and we're going to destroy these enablers, these things that have helped us create these massive challenges for us. And so that very night, I told them, as I talked to them about the scissors, while some of them were cutting up their credit cards, I said, there's no better sound than hearing a credit card go through a shredding machine. And maybe some of you have had that experience, and you know what I'm talking about. There's no better sound. That's your debt, or at least the enablers of your debt, being destroyed. Well, I made that joke to them. Well, little did I know that they would go home and they would do it. And there's the remnants of those 20 additional credit cards that they had sitting at home. Well, Jen and Ben were a great success story. They were committed to doing it. They followed the 60-day Money Miracle Plan outlined in my book. They used the same tool that you have access to through Wake Up Now Finance to help keep track of where they're at and make those decisions along the way to keep them on their path to zero debt. Well, let me just give you a little highlight reel of where they were. When they started out, the first night I met them, they were $114,000 in debt. Now, that's significant because they didn't have a mortgage. That's all credit card and consumer debt. Car loans, they did a debt consolidation one time, and that didn't work. And so in 1 year's time, in 12 months, following the steps that are outlined in my book with a little help from me, they were able to reduce that $114,000 down to $67,000 in 1 year. That's over $40,000 in savings in 1 year. I told you 25,000, and most of you, if you have a mortgage, it's going to be a whole lot more than that. I believe that's the single biggest benefit of being involved in Wake Up Now, is teaching you how to manage your money and get out of debt and save a fortune in future interest payments. Now, that's just the amount of debt they reduced, but think about how much debt. They were on a track to get out of debt, and it would have taken them almost 20 years to pay off all those debts if they just kept on the path that the bank wanted to keep them on. But with this simple plan, when they implemented, you can see what progress they made in 1 year. They were on a track to be completely debt-free within 3 years or less. And that was going to enable them to live the lifestyle of their dreams, the first step of which was to get their own home. And I'm happy to report a little follow-up after the fact of the story is that they're now in a home. And so they're making progress towards that goal. They're not completely debt-free yet, but they're now in a position where they can afford that. Now, why do most people fail? It's like anything bad habits or addictions we're trying to give up. It comes down to this. I'll spell it for you. Most of you probably see where I'm headed with this. Well, I'll just finish that later. The fact is, most of us just keep putting it off. We don't get serious about it. Well, I want to change that. And I've discovered what I believe is the secret that makes it almost impossible for you to fail with my 60-day money miracle plan and using Wake Up Now. Now, let me use an example to kind of illustrate that. And this is the most important thing I'm going to share with you today, so please listen up. Now, if you were in your car and you wanted to determine the shortest route between where you are today and where you want to be, what would you do? Well, for most of you, probably have access to a map or a GPS where you could track where you are. And here's an example of a map where it plots the course from here to Denver, Salt Lake City to Denver. Well, what most of us need if we want to be successful with a debt elimination program or personal finance, improving our personal finances, we need basically a financial GPS, something we can plug in the coordinates of where we are today that would actually show us the step-by-step driving instructions that we can follow to show us the shortest path to get to zero debt. Well, that's exactly what Wake Up Now Finance is. And my belief is, I'm very confident in this, that your odds of experiencing your own 60-day money miracle are 100 times or more better. Now, obviously, that's a big number, but 100 times better if you'll automate your plan using Wake Up Now Finance. And that's something that's included with just the basic membership as a customer or as an independent business owner that you get access to. And I believe it's one of the most underutilized things that can give you one of the biggest benefits for being involved. Now, there's really only two ways to get to zero debt faster. You can spend less or you can make more. And I believe Wake Up Now gives you the opportunity to do both. It gives you the resources where if you're using the marketplace, the coupons, for groceries, the cell phone discounts, all those things, you can save $100 to $300 a month on the things that you're currently spending money on. That's just like taking money right off the top of your budget. Plus, if you get serious about this and share this program and these tools with others, you can create an additional income. Those two things combined will be a wrecking ball on your debt to help you get out of debt that much faster. And believe it or not, they're both things that you have access to through Wake Up Now. Now, to help you get started, I've put together a program that kind of gives you all the tools and resources you need to go along with Wake Up Now to actually help you build that step-by-step driving instructions and get motivated and put the plan in place to have that. I really believe that you guys can, with Wake Up Now, both save and make money and begin to enjoy the lifestyle of your dreams. Now, here's the program. I call it the 60-Day Money Miracle System. And it includes the book, which, again, you can get a free download at rossjardine.com. Just simply go there. You can have it today. But I also have created a powerful training program that goes along with it, a workbook with all the activities and exercises that will help you incorporate each and one of those 7 steps that I introduced to you today. And to go along with that, I created 10 video training sessions where I actually go through and kind of give you the highlights and some stories and activities to motivate and inspire you to follow through on the activities in that workbook. We also include in this, as a special bonus, specific training programs on Wake Up Now Finance. Now, there's some exciting changes being put in place with Wake Up Now Finance, and some of those things are things that I've had some influence on, and I can't tell you how excited I am to share them with you. And those things will be included as a special bonus in this, so you can be some of the first people to find out about some of the new enhancements to that powerful tool, Wake Up Now Finance. Now, if you'd like to get this program, let me tell you what I've always done my whole life is I've sold training. And when I sold training, when people came to my live training classes to spend a single day to have me teach you to invest was a minimum of $3,000, and that's expensive. We used to offer some home study courses for as little as $2,000, and then some really small training programs for $500-$600. If I were to do this program in my old company, it would have been $597, and it would have been something that I know would be very popular. But I'm on a mission to help touch as many families as we can through Wake Up Now and the 60-Day Money Miracle System. There's a reason I give that book away for free, because when people are in debt, they don't have a whole lot of money to throw around at things. And to have somebody go into debt to learn how to get out of debt, to me, is just the wrong thing to do. So what I've done through cooperation with Brandon here today and Wake Up Now is I've taken this entire 60-Day Money Miracle system, and I've made it so that it's affordable for each of you. And I'm confident with the things you'll learn in this, you'll easily be able to recover the investment of just $97 to get the information that will literally change your life forever. And I'm confident within the first week that you'll be able to use the information in this course and in my book to make at least that much or more and put you on a path that will help you save that minimum of $25,000 or more in interest. Now, if you'd like to get a copy of that, I just put it up. This is brand new and it's self-directed. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll arrange for the payments either through PayPal, or I do have a merchant account, so we can do a credit card, and we'll arrange a secure way to do that. But I'll get you started in it. You can start literally this week with those 10 lessons. You go through them at your own pace, and you can literally go through all of them in 4 to 6 weeks and incorporate all those lessons so that by the end of that time, within 60 days, that's why I call it 60-day money miracle, you can have literally your own personal money miracle. Now, part of the challenge for some of you is you feel like, wow, it can never happen to me. Well, I don't know if you believe in miracles, but I certainly do. And let me just share a little personal story. This is a little self-portrait I took the other day of me, and you can see a little device there that's attached to my head and hanging on my ear. What most people don't know is that my personal challenge is that I'm deaf. It wasn't always that way. I started losing my hearing about 19 years ago. And for 18 of those years, I wore a hearing aid. And it finally reached a point a year ago that I could no longer hear well enough to function. I couldn't talk on a phone. I couldn't listen, couldn't hear a TV or a radio in my car. And I finally had to do something about it. So I went in and got an extensive evaluation on my hearing again for about the second or third time in my life. And they finally determined I was a good candidate for what they call a cochlear implant. And so last year I had that surgery, and where I'm virtually deaf now and can't hear anything, which affected me because what I've done all my life is teach and train people, and it makes it difficult if you can't hear a question somebody's asking you in a seminar or training event. But now my hearing has, in the last year, has been miraculously restored through the miracle of technology. So, do I believe in miracles? Absolutely. And I know that this can happen to you. It really can happen to you. You deserve, I believe, your own 60-day money miracle. And Wake Up Now and this 60-day money miracle program are two things that can help it make it happen even faster than you ever thought possible. So I want to just thank Brandon for the opportunity to uh, uh, to talk to you today just for a few minutes. And again, we've just barely scratched the surface. There's lots more I'd love to share with you, and I'll be getting more and more involved with Wake Up Now. I'm a big advocate of what we're trying to do here. This is something that's really going to change a lot of people's lives for the better, and I'm excited to be involved in it. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, you can go to rossjardine.com. If you'd like to order the 60-day money miracle course at the special package price through Brandon and Wake Up Now, you can send me an email at rossjardine@me.com, and we'll connect and make arrangements, and I'll get you your login and password so that you can get started on that right away. Again, I want to thank Brandon for the time and being involved. And then I'm fine if somebody wants to stay on. We can open it up for a few questions here. But you want any final remarks, Brandon?
Ross, I just really appreciate you taking the time to go through this. I've actually read through a good number of parts of your book, and I'll say just the information that you gave today with the book. If you were selling the book alone for $97, it'd be worth it. It was so valuable. We live in a country right now where people are struggling. Their hopes, their dreams, their vision has been smashed. And I think the education that we provide, along with the automated financial software that people can use with this education that you provide on the 60-day money miracle, can absolutely change people's lives. I mean, to be able to give the study course, the book, 10 training sessions is incredible. From knowing you before with a lot of the workshops and things that you've done in the past, people typically couldn't enter a room for less than $2,000 or $3,000. And so I think that the value is extremely high. One of the questions that I have for you, Ross, is, if just in 30 seconds or so, if you can just kind of tell the people who are on this webinar, what is the main reason why you chose Wake Up Now? Because you haven't actually been in this industry before. What's the main key point that you saw that really excited you about it?
I appreciate that, and you're right. I've never done this, and in fact, not just never done this, but actually been very much against the whole network marketing industry. And I say that with lots of friends and people I've partners on investments and things like that that are some of the most successful people in that industry. And I always looked at them and I thought, wow, that's incredible. But I could never get my head around, selling, lotions and potions and diets and all these different things to, I used to joke it's stuff to, melt fat, grow hair, or cure cancer, and sell it for 100 times more than it's really worth just so that we can all get a paycheck. And where Wake Up Now was different, and frankly, the only reason I haven't seen another company that I would even consider associating myself with. But the reason I chose this is because it gave me a vehicle to get the message that I feel passionate about. My life's mission, I've been very blessed. I do live the lifestyle of my dreams. And so I feel a tremendous burden and responsibility to help others get out of the struggles and the holes that they're in. And I believe Wake Up Now gives me a vehicle to help me do that at a much more grand scale, but not at the expense of people getting involved. I believe that if they genuinely use the program, there's no way they can't save what they're spending. There's no way that they're not going to make in some way, either in tax savings or by discounts using the services, to make the money that they're spending to be involved. As little as $25 to me, it's almost a no brainer. But the fact that they can make a business out of it, I look at that as a way to get literally an army of people like you and others and all the people on this call today to literally go out there and help me share this message too. It's something that I feel, again, it just gives tremendous depth to what I'm trying to do to help me accomplish what I consider to be my life's mission, which is help a lot of families deal with the challenges of money and finance and turn it around to a real benefit for them to give them a chance to live that lifestyle of dreams. So that's the only reason I'm involved, is because it's not something that we're there's some true value here that people can get a benefit from. The fact that they can make a little extra money on it, to me, is just an added bonus. But we're really on a mission to change people's lives forever.
Well, it's neat that they can take their current existing income now and really make a tremendous difference, even if they didn't make an extra $5. I mean, if you think about it, in using the program that we have, between using Wake Up Now Finance Tax Bot and the other parts of the benefits program, when you look at a lot of the other programs out there, along with our compensation plan, we can really speed up the process of getting people out of debt.
I think, to me, when I was first introduced to Wake Up Now, uh, the biggest benefit to me is learning what I just shared with you today. That $25,000 of saved interest, or 100,000 or 200, whatever the situation you're in, will be a big blessing to your life, whether or not you're successful in this business or not. And the tool that you need to stay on track is what you're going to get as part of it. If it cost you, $100 a month or $25 a month, however you decide to participate, and you could save, 25, 30, 50, $100,000. I don't know anybody, an investment person I've ever met, that wouldn't say that's an incredible return on your money. So again, in spite, whether even if you're not a good business builder, if that's not why you do this, do it for the education, do it for the tools, do it for the savings. Those are things that will get you to that point where you have a happy life a whole lot faster.
Well, and don't you have a goal of being able to help people within a 12-month period of time through this vehicle of getting over cutting down about $1 billion of debt?
Well, that's a big goal, and I think what we decided is I've just been working on a new challenge, and you bring it up, so I'll let the cat out of the bag here. But we'll probably be announcing this shortly. But I call it the $100 million debt freedom challenge, and we'll be putting up some information. And this course and the package that I put together is really the vehicle that if people want to take part of that challenge, and basically they're committing to make their debt, whatever they've got, part of that $100 million goal. I think you'll hear more about that, a lot more than that, in the next weeks and months to come as we make a big deal. I believe through Wake Up Now and these efforts here with my book and the course that we can eliminate in the next 12 months, $100 million of personal debt. And I hope each of you that are listening want your debt to be part of that, and it certainly can be. And we'll track that through the Wake Up Now Finance and kind of keep track of how we're doing. But I'm confident if we hit that first milestone, our next goal will be $1 billion.
No, I think that's wonderful. The education that you're providing and the software that people in this company are able to use is absolutely tremendous. It's life changing. What we're doing is we're literally putting money back in people's pockets. We're having the interest work for you instead of against you. And I just appreciate the time, Ross, that you've taken today with us, and all the people on the webinar want to respect your time as well. Appreciate you taking the time to be on here. We do have this recorded, and we'll get that out to you today so that you can have this recording. Feel free to share it with other people as well. Again, to order the 60-day money miracle system, all you have to do is just send an email to rossjardine@me.com. Again, that's rossjardine@me.com. An incredible system. I'm excited, Ross, to actually go through it myself.
Uh,
I've been using Wake Up Now Finance for 3 years. I've had some tremendous benefit, but I think you've probably got some things that
I
I
think
haven't
we
done.
can speed it up even for a guy like you that's been
So,
involved. I've seen that so many times. So we'll get you started too.
okay. Well, good. Ross, again, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being in the studio today. Guys and gals, again, thank you for being on the call in this webinar.
Now
And
Brandon, I've got about 10 more minutes. So I'll stay on if anybody will kind of formally end things right now and stop our recording. But if somebody would like to stay on and if they have some questions, I'm happy to stay on and answer a couple questions. And I'll keep the mic on so everybody can hear.
okay, yeah, if anyone has any questions, as you know, there in the question box, all you have to do is just type it in there. We'll stop the recording.